Welcome to the True Mark, the Last Supper of Jesus' day there, like when he had the Last Supper and then he knew he was going to die on the cross. You know, how's that possible? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
how did he understand all that? Obviously he had a spirit within him
Hmm.
that led him, like he was coasted to do what he had to do, and like, and I believe we're all in that same position. Like we should have our Last Supper and then take that spirit within us and live by the spirit like he did, and and practice with the spirit. Like test your spirit. Always, ask it stuff. And if your spirit's not leading you, your spirit's down. And only way to fix that spirit is to study the word, and it states in there like where Jesus says, you got to live by the word, you know. So I say the keys to heaven. What I do, I live by that, and I keep bringing up the keys to heaven, and it's from the little book of John 1 to 21, and it states you how to, how it's done, how to live by it, and it's a 3 day system, right? And it feeds my spirit.
Oh, it's basically like a 6-day system.
Yeah, 6 days, but it's a 3 day fall on. Like the
Hmm.
first Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then your Saturday's your off day. But it nurtures the spirit. But again, like what I was saying about the Last Supper, Jesus' Last Supper. Like, I mean, when he states his Last Supper, it doesn't mean he's not coming back. You know, what was the Last Supper stand for? Like, I mean,
Um,
that he was going to just go down the cross and then all our sins are forgiven, and then bang, it's a new world again. You know,
I think we have to work towards it being a new world.
how do you work with it if your spirit's not
Well, no, like,
alive?
yeah, you have to figure out how to, like, open your spirit or, like, awaken your spirit and then teach everyone else about it.
Yeah, like, I mean, once your spirit's alive and leading you, so that's what I said. Like, if you test your spirit, if it's leading you, you're in the right track. But if it's not leading you, there's definitely something wrong.
Yeah, and if you have, like, those thoughts, like, while you're trying to test your spirit, it's like, oh, but what if I'm not doing this? And then, like, you're not letting it. Like, you might hear the spirit in your head, but you have to listen to that instead of your mind. Like it's hard to explain.
Well, because the spirit's quicker. It's like an inner thought, and the mind's an outer thought.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's like even with the mind, you have to write it down on pencil. The spirit is a fluidly thing that just fluidly.
Yeah, it just comes out of your mouth basically.
Yeah, like you gotta just let go. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, trust in your spirit, but you have to trust in it that it's leading you in the right direction. But I mean, if you're doing crazy things and bad things, obviously you're not living by the true spirit. And Jesus is truth. God is truth. So we got to live by truth. It means like you got to try to do truthful things. Like if you're gonna, do a small sinful thing, like it just adds up. And then you're gonna weigh yourself down. You're always gonna be pulling yourself down because the weight of the sins is a heavy weight. And when you got to cover it up all the time, and kind of hide it,
Yeah. That's the
ignore
thing.
it, ignore it. So how could you be living within the spirit? Because the spirit will lead you in the righteous ways.
And it doesn't like tire you out like you always say.
Yeah, you won't be exhausted because the spirit is energy. It's the mind that tires you out when you're always thinking and you're worrying about this, you're worrying about that, and you're trying to get through your day, and you're just analyzing. It's going to drain you. But if your spirit, and you trust your spirit, and your spirit's fed, it's going to lead you in the right direction anyways.
Yeah.
And you, like you said, you won't be tired or less tired.
Yeah.
But you'll want to live a more healthier life. You want to eat better. You want to, pick better choices because,
You just want to do better as a person.
yeah, because you're living by the spirit. Some people say, it comes and goes, and it does. If you're not fed fully, your spirit's only going to come and go.
Yeah, and you have to constantly be listening to it. Because, like, you might think it's coming and going, but it's still telling you messages that you're not paying attention to.
100%. But you got to get that spirit fed. That's the main thing. Is the keys to it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, like you always say, it's like you're still gonna have the spirit. It's just not gonna be as. It's not gonna guide you as well as it could.
yeah, because that fed spirit will lead you in the right way, where God and Jesus really gave it to everybody.
It's kind of like when you feed your like regular body too. Like when you don't eat, your mind's all foggy. You can't think. You're tired. But like when you eat, you feel more energized. It's kind of like that with the spirit.
Yeah, because the spirit's an unknown thing within everybody. It's in levels. I believe it's, I'll say 1 to 100.
Mm-hmm.
You got to become that energetic person, within yourself. You could have 10% spirit, and you got some visions, and some really good visions. But just think, if you had 80% spirit, you're gonna have multiple visions.
Mm-hmm. And you'll understand those visions.
Yeah, you'll pick the better one to pick, I believe. But even with a weak spirit, you still have that spirit, and it's still trying to bump you up to get you a better spirit, get your spirit fed. Mm-hmm. That spirit's hungry. It's like a flesh. If we didn't have food, you're gonna have hunger pains. You're gonna have really being upset all the time because you're hungry and you need food. You need water. You need food. Well, the spirit needs that energy, and that energy is, you practice it with being truthful, and more when it's fed, you're enlightened. You get to see better. Your journey is going to be more comfortable.
Yeah, you'll appreciate each step.
Yeah, and if say something did happen, well, if it happened, so what? You just lost a little thing, but there's big opportunities before that. Little thing's just little. Just think of when you have a full spirit, you're going to get multiple things. That little thing's not even going to bother you. It's not going to afflict you, because the biggest thing is, you're going to be motivated because you're going to be watching for more things.
Yeah, definitely.
So that little thing's nothing compared to what's coming your way.
Mm-hmm. You'll forget about that completely.
Yeah, and when you're living for God and Jesus, believe me, and you could ask for anything. Jesus says, ask God directly, and He will grant it, and He will. And that's the truthful thing. He will give it to you how you ask. So you got to be very careful how you ask. And if your spirit's really weak and you ask, we got a world full of somebody's dreams and their wishes came true. And that's why our world is the way it is. Everything that's in this world is somebody's dream or vision. So that's the spirit. When the spirit's so down, we pick bad dreams, bad visions. Mm-hmm. So when your spirit's enlightened, the visions and the thoughts that you pick are going to be more visibility, and our world could change to that better world. Yeah. So the biggest step is to feed your spirit, and that's what I say. And I keep saying it, and I keep bringing it up. Like I said, the keys to heaven if you live by them, believe me, it will feed your spirit 100%. And if you live by it, and the way it's designed to work, you're feeding that spirit daily.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the main thing. So you'll be able to have them greater choices out there, and the world will become a better place because your spirit is lit up, and you're
Mm-hmm.
going to really pay attention to what you ask God for, what you want God to give you, or what you ask God, because you're going to be able to pick it better.
Yeah, definitely.
So the Last Supper, I believe Jesus had. I think we as people, we could have our Last Supper and then pick something to feed your spirit and live for today as Jesus did.
Exactly, yeah.
So, and become that person that Jesus wants you to become, and God. So, with an unfed spirit, it's going to be a rocky world, you know.
Yeah.
But
It's
I
always
mean,
like the downs and the ups. But like life is all about downs and ups. It's just about like how you're gonna cope with that and how you're gonna move forward and find peace in those down days. If that makes sense.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it does. But I mean, like when you're energized, you're gonna be able to have more ups than downs.
Yeah. Well, because you find the good in all like the bad situations too. You know?
Yeah, because everything's it's the you know
And you don't let those downs bring you more down and have like a whole shitty day. It's kind of just like only a section of that day.
yeah, because you're gonna come out of it quicker
Mm-hmm.
because you got a nice fed spirit, right? So again, like non-fed spirit is more of a chance to trip and fall and not be able to get back up.
Yeah.
But a fed spirit, when you trip, you're not even gonna hit the floor. You're right
Yeah.
back up. So
Exactly.
that's where it's at with I don't know, like and we keep talking about the spirit, but it is. That's what Jesus promised. And he brought it. So if we're not gonna talk about it, what are we gonna just push it back in
Yeah.
the
What's the
back
point of
corner?
having the
The whole
spirit
idea
then?
is to talk about it, to get people to realize and understand that we all have it. It's to feed it and then to really enjoy it because it is a gift from God and Christ. Christ died on that cross so we could have it and so we can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Not to have a good spirit and be pouty and not non-fruitful. A good spirit is a fruitful spirit. So you're not going to look down. And when you see people down, you're going to feel for that person because,
Try and help them back up.
well, sometimes it's best to walk away because I mean, you could fall into it
Oh,
and you're
exactly.
keeping
Yeah.
them down. By walking away, that person's going to eventually have to get back up. But you can give him the tools so he could get back up.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have the tools, how could you give him the tools? Giving him change ain't a tool.
No. Yeah.
You know, give him the world,
I meant
the
just
words.
like positive messages, like you're gonna have a better future. Like I hope your day gets better from
Yeah,
now
get
on.
him, help him get his spirit lifted. You know, and then he'll be feeding you. He'd be coming to you instead of you going to him. But I mean, but if you don't have it, how could you give it to anybody else?
Yeah.
You know, so the whole idea is to get it within yourself, and then you can see more clear because you're living with a clean spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So at least you try your best more and more if you have
Exactly.
something to live for.
And the more you work on trying your best, the more you're actually gonna get better.
Yeah, because your spirit's gonna lead you into better directions, right? And you're gonna have that, you know, better days, better nights, better weeks, better years, better everything. So I don't know. Like I mean, like I said before, everything like the big book to the little book, everything has that meaning and purpose. If you really look at it from the Old Testament to the New Testament and where Jesus says, you know, he granted the Spirit, but a lot of people just never fed the Spirit, so they're down, and the world's just staying down. They have the Spirit with them because everybody does. Everybody in the planet has it.
Mm-hmm.
It's how much it's fed, but more so, it's you'll be able to understand the theory of the books. It's leading us into a, you know, to a mission, like through, it's not like it's the end to the beginning, and the beginning is new, and the Spirit will lead you into the new world of living.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm getting at, like, and like I said, with the keys to heaven, it does feed your spirit, and it does open your eyes if you let it. It's free.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's not free because you got to work for it. It's not like it's not, you know, like, I don't know how you could put it in other words. And it's easy. Like, I mean, but it takes dedication. You know, like,
Yeah.
you have to be motivated to want that change. It ain't gonna change for you, but you have to want it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you want a nice fed spirit, it's an easy way to do it. But in more so, like, I mean, if we want to change the world, we have to change ourselves within us.
Exactly.
And by changing the world, a healthy spirit is a good start. Till next time.